What is going on, people inside that internet machine? Welcome to this episode of Odds and Ends. And as we start a new year, you undoubtedly have a large backlog of games that you want to try to get through. Today, I'm going to share my 5 super tips to help you beat your backlog. So here we go, man. Backlog's always an issue every year. We always tend to buy more games that we play. It's like, oh, it was on super sale, or I have to have it in my collection. That keeping up with the Joneses mentality. And it really hurts us because it builds a lot of anxiety when we have like 100 games on our backlog that we have failed to even play. So like I said, today I'm going to take you through my 5 tips on what I do, my strategies, and my own individual process on how I handle my backlog. The first thing is I try to create a gimmick or some type of purpose for the year. So a few years ago, whatever it was, I did Year of the PlayStation, where I focused on PlayStation games on all consoles. Helped keep me focused. Last year, I did 16-bit Super Nintendo games for the first half of the year, 16-bit Sega Genesis games for the last half of the year. Now, that doesn't mean that you exclusively have to play games on those consoles, but you really wanted to focus on, I wanted to focus on specific games on those consoles that I had never beaten. Contras, Metroids, maybe that errant Mario Brothers game or Sonic game or something that I just never got to. It really helps you stay focused when you set up the console and you got your game there and you're ready to go. And creating a gimmick or something to follow, a loose plan to follow, will really help you out in beating your backlog. The second thing that you want to do is you want to create a list of the games that are on your backlog that you want to beat this year. That way you don't have like 100 games on your backlog. You go, I want to beat these 20 games this year. It helps you manage that backlog a little bit more in the games that you have. So make a list, write it down, tape it to the wall in your game room, keep it on the coffee table in your game room. And as you beat those games, cross those off. Sort of acts like a scoreboard, if you will, of your progress throughout the year. And once you see games start coming off the list psychologically, it's going to make you want to play more games. Along with that, if you have games on your backlog that you've already started, maybe you got halfway through them and you kind of put them over there and hey, I'm going to play this over here. Put a little star beside those games. Those games may be a little bit easier to cross off your backlog because, you're already like halfway through it. So time-wise, you should be able to get it done. Number 3, understand that time is the enemy. We all have different situations in lives. We're at different parts of our lives, and our time management is also very, very different. I'm lucky. I have Friday, Saturday, Sunday off, so I've got all weekend to play a game if I want to play a game. But what you really want to do is avoid beating games that you've already beat before. I love Mega Man, Contra, Last of Us, those types of games, but I've already beaten those before. So instead of putting time into those, and I know you love them, I know you love to play them, and they're nostalgic games or your childhood games, you love them, love them, love them. But understand that, again, time is the enemy. So if you want to beat games on your backlog, you've got to free up more time. And by avoiding playing those games that you've already beaten, will give you more time to play your games. The second thing you need to do is sort of strategize when you're going to play these games. Here's an example. I love football, college football, NFL football, and when that time of year rolls around, I typically play a lot less games because I like to sit on the couch and watch football. But what you could do to maybe help the flow of beating those games for the year is maybe play handheld games while you're watching football. Don't clog up the first half of the year. Don't use a lot of time during the first half of the year to play those handheld games if you know you're just going to sit on the couch and watch football in the back half of the year. So you can strategize that way. The other thing with time is your individual skill and the length of the game matters. So some of these games, especially some of these modern games, they could be 100-hour games, 100+ hour games. So unless you really, really enjoy the game, you love the game, don't worry about 100%ing it or 1cc'ing or no death running a game. Now, certainly a shooter or a Contra game or a Ninja Gaiden game, 2D Ninja Gaiden game, I'm going to try and do a 1cc or a no death run on, so I'll put a little bit more time into that. That's okay. But if you're playing a bunch of games throughout the year, don't try and 100% every single one, especially ones that it's a franchise you don't really have a lot of nostalgia for, or you look at it and go, you know what? I just saw the end credits, but to 100% it, I'm gonna have to put in another 40 hours. Maybe save that for another time and start a new game. That way you can start crossing off those games that are on your list that you want to cross off. So number 3, time is the enemy. Coming in at number 4 is focus and finish. Play one game at a time, and when you're done with it, boom, put it back in the case, grab another one. Playing 4, 5, 6, 20 games at a time is a bit daunting. It just adds to the anxiety and stress. You forget how the game controls, you forget what's going on in the story, you forget what part of the world you're supposed to. Just focus in on one game on your backlog and finish that game. Also, when I do a console, so I grab here's an example. Today I grabbed my TurboGrafx 16, which is usually packed away. It's in the box in a closet, and I never really play it. So this year I wanted to play some more TurboGrafx 16 stuff. So what I did was I grabbed my entire stack of TurboGrafx 16 games. Today I already beat Ninja Spirit. Now this game took me about an hour to beat. I wanted to no death run it, do a 1cc, that kind of thing. But my third playthrough, I was down to about 20 minutes on it and still couldn't do a 1cc. So I was like, I'm gonna give this a couple more tries and then we're gonna put it away. So I was not able to 1cc it, but I did play through this game 5 times today. It's a short game, easy to learn, hard to master kind of thing. It was one level where you're falling down. It's very tricky. But after this video, I'm gonna pop in another TurboGrafx 16 game, hopefully get that at least started today. So it'd be a game and a half today. So yeah, have that small stack there. Just psychologically, these are the games I want to play. They're right here. They're ready to go. I don't have to dig through a tub or find it on a shelf or ask my friend to give it back. Whatever it is, they are right there, ready to go. That way, that will help you focus and finish some of these games. All right, so number 5 is beating the backlog is a process. You have to understand that. Do not get discouraged. Do not get frustrated, okay? I think it's important to say that don't focus so much on beating a number of games, a set number of games, but just stay focused on the games that are on your backlog that you want to beat. This also means that if there's a game on your backlog that you pop in and maybe you played in an hour, it's not clicking with you, you don't like the story or the mechanics or graphics or whatever it is, it wasn't what you thought it was, don't be afraid to pull that game out, set it aside, pop in a new game, and start fresh with a new game. You got into gaming because it's fun. So you should have fun playing games, even if it's on your backlog. This should not be a work. It should not be a chore. You know, you should be having fun playing your games. So understand that it's a process. Don't get discouraged. So guys, those are my 5 tips and strategies to overcoming your backlog. But before we go, I do want to mention one more thing. You get into this community and it always starts the same. I rediscovered my love for this console. I only want to collect my childhood games for this console. I only want to collect this console. Well, I got this one too. And then it goes up and up and up, right? It escalates and escalates and escalates. And I can tell you as someone that's 45 years old, you have to balance, do you need the game or do you want the game? Okay? There is again, keeping up with the Joneses mentality sometimes when you're in the gaming community, that you have to collect and collect and collect and absorb all these games into your life. When really, you should be getting the games that you want to play. And I know it's tough sometimes. They go on super sale, you know, things like that, $5 games or something on Steam or on the online service, where you get a really good deal on a game at a garage sale or something like that. That's fine. But what we're really talking about is focus on your own individual gaming journey. What do you want out of this, okay? And if your goal is to beat games that are on your backlog and to play these games that you wanted to play for so long but just never got around to playing them, then follow my 5 steps, carve out some time, and enjoy your games, because that's what they're ultimately there for. Anyway, guys, what are some of your tips and strategies for battling your backlog? Make sure you leave a comment down below. Before you go, Like, comment, subscribe, share on social media. Don't forget to bang that notification bell so you can stay up to date on all of your CM retro gaming goodness. Guys, take care of yourselves, and we will see you on the next one. I've got some TurboGrafx to play.